All right, y'all, we are live on this beautiful Thursday. Is it Thursday or Friday? Who knows? God bless everybody in the name of Jesus, Yeshua the Messiah. I do pray you and your family are super blessed as Bitcoin has gotten a massive Bart Simpson pattern. 1, 2, 3, wham! Right to the downside. I did short the bottom of it this morning for a tiny little profit. All right. Also, look at where we came down to. This is so crazy. We literally come down to my entry from the 24th. What day was that? Wednesday? The trade setup I took on Wednesday that I took in real time in the Casper Crew VIP Discord at jasoncaspertrading.com. Literally come down and bounce right from my entry. Look at that. Amazing. Amazing. How is it even possible? That's pretty crazy. Man, this price action, if this doesn't get you excited, I don't know what will. Bart Simpsoning out the wazoo. Man, it never gets more exciting than Bart Simpsoning out the dang wazoo. Make sure to smash up the likes, because if we can get 1,000 likes within the first half hour, we will be giving away 1,000 USDT. I need to update one or more of my indicators. Really? You can update indicators? Update to the latest version? No way. I just updated my indicators, guys. That's what's up. Major shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to Luminosa. Jason has no way to invest, neither do I. Let's go. Shout out to Terpene Hunter. Terpene Hunter, what is going on? Shout out to Hu Li Shet, who says 12:50 a.m. right here. Shout out to Crypto Bro 38. He says, Shalom, let the fun begin. Shout out to my man FBAZM. Jason, you are the man. Christmas, holidays, you are always here, even when we keep bleeding. Shout out to Flippa Frank. How's the upper pecs doing, JC? You know what? I got a little bit of DOMs, not as much as I thought I was going to have. All right. Shout out to Imagination of Innocence. Kind of feels like the year-end tax season dump is among us. Set those limit buy orders, baby. Shout out to Lucky Jim Bob 111. Shout out to Bob Saget 1202. I think we get a push up, but we're still in a bear market. We did a little poll today asking, shout out to Money Changers. We did a little poll. Shout out to Newbie Crypto, God bless. Shout out to GeoBase, God bless. GeoBash, GeoBase. We did a little poll today in the chat. Are we in a bear market? 64% say yes, the bear market is really here. 36% say no. The bear market is not. Yeah. Okay. Well, here's the thing, guys. Here is the thing. For the first time, I mean, this is the green line here. This is our 50-week moving average. The white line is our 100-week moving average. Historically speaking, when we dip below that 50-week moving average, it's not the best look in the world for Bitcoin, right? We're just being honest. Also, if we go to the 2-month time frame, we know that we've confirmed the red dot, bearish divergence, which historically speaking has been the top for Bitcoin for the past 4 cycles. When we go to the monthly market cipher B, we know that when we see a move below the 60 on monthly momentum, well, it means that we are going to go sideways and down for the next 9 months or so. Taking a look at Fear and Greed Index today, you can see that we are in extreme fear. Nothing has really changed. Now, guys, let's please keep in mind, extreme fear historically means that we get a rally, okay? Doesn't mean we go into a bull market, but it means we get a rally, right? The last time fear was this low was the March-April lows, which led to, of course, the big pump to the all-time high. Now, something that we do need to keep our eyes on, I'd say, is as we come down to the weekly chart, as we are bouncing from the 100-week moving average, we are forming a bottom on the weekly. Historically speaking, this means a rally, regardless of bull or bear market, a rally to the upside is very close, all right? Rally to the upside is very close. All right, what are the moving averages on the chart? The green is the 50-week, the white is the 100-week. All right, not only that, but we do have some interesting news. We've been talking about it for a while, but basically, today, December 26th, the largest crypto options expiry on record, 28 billion in value, is expiring. All right, about 276,000 Bitcoin options expire. And basically, what's going on here? We've got ourselves a put to call ratio of 0.35. which means most of those bets were bullish and not bearish. And so when most of the bets are bullish and price doesn't pump, what tends to happen is we reach the max pain level, which is where people will lose the most money. In this case, that's going to be a move to the upside towards $95,000. Now we know $95,000 is a very important level on the chart because 95,000 is going to be our high volume node of the entirety of all of this, right? 96.5, they're saying 95, 96.5, very, very key level here. And so now I know that there's been a little bit of confusion about these. I know people had the option to actually roll these over to 2026. So I'm not sure if they actually all expired or not, or if people were able to roll them over to 2026. Nonetheless, it is a catalyst for an injection of volatility. All right. And max pain would be to the upside for those who were betting bullishly against Bitcoin. And of course, here we are, basically back at $87,000. It's quite interesting because, you know, for the beginning of, I mean, we're in the red on 2025 so far, from January 1st, 2025, where we end up, let's see, closing the candle over $100,000. You know, the year ends at 87,000. So, you know, those bullish options have expired. Max pain would be a move to the upside right now. If they were able to roll over and hold until 2026, I cannot confirm or deny this, then that would cause less volatility. But if some of those options did expire, it could cause this move to the upside that we've been waiting for. And remember, I'd say we have a really nice zone between the 96 to, you know, 100-ish, $102,000 level, where we've got ourselves the POC of the macro range. Obviously, we have the backtest of the 50-week moving average. But also, we've got ourselves, if we pull it from this last local high, we've got the local golden pocket, 102, 786 around 108, you know, and I've given the levels of resistance we have to the upside on previous streams. But I do still have to hold to my bias right now, based on this weekly, that indeed we are going to see a move to the upside soon. Once we break out of this range, it's going to have some significant follow-through. I would expect this range will probably get a pump to the upside. Maybe we do something like this. And then, because I do believe we're in a bear market, I do believe we're eventually going to come back down. But that's kind of what I'm hoping and looking for right now on our weekly time frame for Bitcoin. We come now to our daily, and we are in Chop City, man. We are in straight up Chop City. This is pretty painful, and this is actually pretty typical for December, especially in a bear market. Now, I'm not saying we're in a bear market. You guys are saying we're in a bear market, okay? I'm not saying we're in a bear market. You guys, 63% of you are saying we're in a bear market. All right, I'm not saying it. All right, I'm not saying it. You guys are saying it, but historically, like last bear market in December was 2022. If you guys remember December 2022, literally the last half of December in 2022 was very similar to what we have going on right now, which was this, right? Literally this, a whole bunch of nothing. It's pretty crazy. We look at last December 2024. Let's take a look at December 2024. Where was that? Where was December 2024? November, December 2023. Man, even December 2023 was pretty nothing. And then December 2024 was right around here. All right, so we actually had some push to the upside December 2024. But in general, Decembers are pretty low volatility months. So I would be looking for, in general, this range to eventually break. And when it does, we'll have some significant follow through. Based on our daily, based on our weekly, I would expect probably a move to the upside before a move to the downside. Now, if we take a look here at the daily, you can see we formed like a really nice bottom here. Big Ben Armstrong green dot, which would set us up nicely in the event of taking out that low again, which set us up nicely for a fake out with some nice bullish divergence, right? Bullish divergence is when the price is getting lower and the momentum is getting higher, giving us the coveted Uneven butt cheek pattern, big and juicy on the left, nice and skinny on the right. It's the kind of pattern that makes you want to take a long trade no matter what else you're doing in life. All right, even if you're driving the car. You see the screen, because they put TVs in the dang cars these days. I can't believe they do this. All right, they do a warning. They put a warning on the screen. Don't look at the screen while you drive. It's like, well, I'm driving right now while I'm looking at your warning. What do you want me to do? And then, I'm not even joking, they have the TradingView app loaded right onto the dang car with the alerts going off. And the alerts, they shake the whole dang car. The steering wheel vibrates. I get this alert. Ding, 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 ding. Warning, warning, warning. You're about to miss the only trade. The only opportunity for the rest of your life is right now, and you're going to miss it because you're driving. Then, of course, I have to trade and drive. The cops are going to pull me over, but that's okay. Because when you're taking a trade like this long, it's kind of worth it, right? You're sitting there in the jail cell waiting for your wife to come bail you out. Of course, she can't. She doesn't know your private keys. Oof. I guess joke's on me. How am I going to get out of here? Doesn't matter, because the feeling of being in a long trade from the bottom far outweighs the bad feelings of being in jail with no way of getting out. All right? That's definitely the kind of trade that I would like to take. Of course, if we do get a move to the upside first and we don't come to those lows, then I am definitely going to be looking for short trades at the following levels. All right? Level number 1 is going to have to be the high volume node of the range. All right, so we might just take the local high at 95,000, make a slightly higher high, and then reject from this key support resistance flip that we have that literally goes back to May of 2025. Right, this would be rejection area number 1. Then I'd say rejection area number 2 is going to be around $102,000. We have a nice confluence there, support resistance flip. And then I'd be looking for the zone between the golden pocket and the 786 up here. These are all areas where I'd be very interested in taking a short if I see confirmations. Remember, the way we trade is we're not trying to predict what price is going to do, but what we are doing is we're having plans. We're saying, look, price is going to do whatever it's going to do. And I can't control that. But what I can control is I can mark out boxes on a chart where if the price comes to these areas, now I'm interested in taking a trade, right? And then you make a plan for the trade, like this plan for the trade that we had here for around 85,400. If price comes down, and what do you know? We came right into our dang zone there. 86.7 down to around 85. 86.7, we come right into the zone. 86.7, we get a confirmation in a level that we were interested in advance, right? And if we see the confirmation we want, then we know to take a trade, which is why in the Casper Crew VIP Discord at jasoncaspertrading.com, the best trading community in the world, that's why on Wednesday we took the trade live in real time, because we saw a good opportunity, right? We saw something happen at the zone that we were interested in. We weren't predicting a bounce from here. We weren't even predicting price was going to come to here. We were simply saying, if the price comes to here and we see X, Y, and Z, then we can take a trade, right? And so that's what you got to learn how to do as a trader. Otherwise, you're going to get chopped up, right? Because people get married to these ideas that they have, right? They get married to the idea. And love is blinding. Let me tell you, you rush into a marriage, you're setting yourself up for disaster. You don't even know that person. You don't know that person. You think she's going to act a certain way. And then as soon as you say your I do's, guess what? She doesn't act the way you thought she was at all. Right? You thought she was going to go up only. Ain't no baloney. My name's Antonio, but they call me Tony. I like old TV shows like good old Slip Mahoney. Right? Turns out you marry the dang girl, and she goes down only. Wow, that sounds a little bit dirty. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know. But my point is this. You don't know what price is going to do, man. You cannot marry your idea. You need to be prepared for any scenario with a plan in advance so that you can take action, all right? When you marry a girl, you got to think to yourself, you know what? She could be a crazy psycho. She could be a serial killer, and I'm her next victim. So what do? Well, you prepare, right? You make sure when you go to sleep at night, you're sleeping with one eye open, just waiting for that pillow to come down on your face and suffocate you to death. You're prepared. You know what you're going to do in that situation. You're going to rip the pillow off of your face. You're going to call the police. All right? You guys get what I'm saying, right? So these are really the areas where I would be prepared to rip the pillow off my face in the event that the woman I have just married without really knowing her and love is blinding is actually going to try and suffocate me in my sleep or slowly poison me maybe with her dinners over time. She's going to do it slowly so that I don't realize I'm being poisoned. A little here, a little there. Next thing you know, I'm starting to slow down, right? You got to prepare for that scenario. What do? You pack snacks in your backpack. You don't need her dinners, right? She puts the dinner on the table. You give it to the dog. Open up a dang bag of beef jerky. All right? So that's kind of what I'm doing here. And I do believe when we break out of this range that we are going to have some significant follow through. All right? We are going to have some significant follow through. And these would be the areas I'd be prepared for. Now, I would even extend this back down toward the bottom of this range because here's the thing. We also need to understand that if this really is a bear market, and it's going to be similar to previous bear markets, all right? If this is a bear market that's going to be similar to previous bear markets, all right, then we do need to be prepared for some movement to the downside, okay? Like, for example, previous bull bear cycles, we do end up making our way back down to the 786 Fibonacci. That's going to be dipping down below 40K. But let's say this time is different, right? Let's just say this time is different. If this time is really different and institutional buying is going to save our booties, then there is a possibility that we don't come down that low and maybe we come only just back to back test this zone right here and we see something like this, right? We get to move up, we get to move down, we break down, and then we can bounce from this area and head into another bull market, right? This would be a more bullish bear market scenario, assuming the bear market's here. Classic bear market scenario would actually be dipping down to the area below the golden pocket to our 786, and then we would actually bounce from there. You know, very similar to what happened last bull market, bear market, should I say. You know, you take a look at the fib from the low to the high. We try to bounce from the 618 at around $27,000. Get a little tiny bit of a bounce, but then we fall right through. And look where we bounce from, guys. The dang 786, you know. The dang 786. And, you know, look at the time before that, okay? From the bear to the bull. All right, look at this. We tried to bounce from the golden pocket once, twice, three. And then we backtest it, and then we come down, and look where we bounce. The dang 786, man. The dang 786. All right? And we could even go to the time before that. All right, look at this. From the bear to the bull. All right? We try to bounce from the golden pocket, get a little bounce, come down, reject from the golden pocket. Look where we find support, guys. The dang 786. The dang 786, I'm telling you, it's crazy. And we could even go to the time before that. You know, the time before that. Would you look at this? Take it from the low to the high. All right. Actually, hang on. How many bull bear markets are there? How many? Oh, yeah, we already did that one. This is the first Bitcoin cycle ever. I'd say we didn't really bounce from the 786 this time. But if we put on our 886 fib, we definitely got a little bit of a bounce from that pocket there. And so, yeah, if it's going to be a classic bear market, then we are looking at the 786. That's going to take us just below 40,000 US dollars. US dólares. Los dólares. Dolores? Did someone say Dolores? What happened to her? I haven't seen Dolores in a while. Guys... Have you guys seen Dolores? I hope she's all right. I hope she's all right. Shout out to Tushar 101. What's going on, my bro? Shout out to the winners from yesterday. I don't think you guys have received your prizes yet, but they are processing. All right. KCEX was off yesterday, I think. They are processing. All right. Shout out to my man, Not Quicker. He's laughing in his front yard picking up decorations. That's cool, man. That sounds like fun. I wish you had this pep talk with us before I got married, LMAO. Yeah, I'm sorry. Look, I didn't know, Terpene Hunter, that you needed the pep talk before you got married, all right? So, all right. Newbie Crypto says, type 1 in the chat if you can relate with what Jay is saying. I'll keep you in your prayers. If you think your wife is secretly a serial killer that's going to try and suffocate you with a pillow in your sleep, put a 1 in the chat. All right. Oh, shout out to Splashfire Films, who says Dolores still working at the diner. That's what's up. Shout out to Coin Operated, and shout out to M. Chris. And shout out to Black Pepper 12. What mindset shift made you profitable? I'll tell you what mindset shift will make you profitable. You cannot give a crap about money. All right? That's the mindset shift that's going to make you profitable. It's not thinking about money. It's really difficult because we get into trading to make money. But if you're focused on making money, you're going to lose all your money. All right? If you're focused on making money, you're going to lose all your money. If you want to learn how to trade from step 1 to step Z, go ahead and check out the free trading course on the Jason Casper YouTube channel, where Jason Casper himself, all right, will teach you the secrets and the tips and the tricks that the market makers don't want you to know on how to be profitable. Okay? He will teach you everything you need to know, all right, about how to be profitable. It's for free on my YouTube channel under playlists. It's called the Jason Casper Free Trading Course. 18 sessions. Check out the risk management section, all right? If you can fake that mentality if you have your risk management down, all right? You can fake not caring about your money if you have your risk management down. Really what you need to do is you need to care more about the process than the money. Okay, you need to care more about the process than the money. You need to be comfortable with taking losses. But really, the mindset comes, and not giving a crap about money really comes when you're using good risk management. All right, when you're using good risk management, what it does is it causes you not to care about the money. It causes you not to care about the losses, because you know if you take a loss, it's not a big deal. When you're risking too much on a trade, when you take that loss, it is a big deal. And then you start to focus on the money, and you start to get scared, and you start to use emotions, and you start to freak out, and you start to take profit when you shouldn't, and close trades when you shouldn't, and not close trades when you should. But if you know, I'm risking 1% of my stack on this trade, and not only am I risking 1%, but this is a trade that I planned for in advance. I'm not chasing price. I'm not randomly entering into the market. I've calculated when I'm going to take the trade, why I'm going to take the trade, how much money I'm going to take the trade, how much money I'm risking is all calculated in advance. Which means you've already planned for everything. So you're sticking to your process. All right? And when you can appreciate the process more than the money will just come. And you don't even have to trade with a lot of money. What works with a little bit of money is going to work with a lot of bit of money. All right. I've traded with big accounts, relatively speaking. I've traded with small accounts, relatively speaking. It's the exact same thing. All right. So get the risk management down. Go check out the free course. Even if you just watch this risk management video. All right. Even if you just only watch the risk management video only, this will help you a lot. Watch the risk management video. Watch this one. Not this one. The risk management video. This one here. How to make a trading plan from a blank chart. All right. How to make a trading plan from a blank chart. Watch the one about risk management. And then watch the one about managing open trades. All right. Those three are going to give you the mindset that you need. All right. These three will give you the mindset that you need. In my opinion, like I'm only speaking from my own subjective experience, you know. That's the thing about humans. We all have our own subjective experience, our own subjective points of view on things. One man's trash is another man's treasure. One man's treasure is another man's trash, if you know what I'm saying. That's what my dad used to say back in the day, when we used to go to the dump and look for old stuff that we could use, you know? One man's trash is another man's treasure. Birds of a feather flock together, you know? Why do you trade with a small account when you could be trading with more? Well, to be honest with you, the reason why I've been trading with small money lately is because I am not in the right mindset to be trading with big money right now. I'm kind of half there. I'm half there right now in the charts. I am not in a period of my life where I'm hyper focused. And so I'm taking trades more lackadaisically, and so I'm using a smaller account. Yeah, but there will come a day. There will come a day when you come to the Jason Casper YouTube live stream. It's going to be soon. It has to happen organically, all right? I can't tell you when. But we're going to do our $1 million trades again, all right? We're going to do them again, all right? Those were epic. I will be trading with millions of dollars once again, you know? These were some good times, man. These were some good times. Trading with millions of dollars, going to the bathroom, bringing the computer with me. Look, when you got $1 million on the line, you got to go to the bathroom. You got to take the computer with you. We'll be doing it again. All right. That was crazy. Those were some good times, honestly. Those were some good times. Yeah, screaming into a plunger. Weighted vest, $1 million on the line. All right. Yeah, we'll get there again, guys. Right now, I mean, this is just not the market to be trading with that much money for me. I'm not in the zone. Like, that's all I can say. I'm not in the zone. All right. John Blake says, is this a line from the Christmas Carol? He says, Christmas is just another workday, and any jack and eggs who thinks differently should be boiled in their own pudding. I think I'm going to Google this sentence here. Is this a line from like a something? Let's see. Yeah, look. It's from Ebenezer Scrooge's famous harsh declaration from Charles Dickens's A Christmas Carol. That's funny. See, I know a thing or two about old classic American culture. Shout out to Jay Schlong, and he says, learning risk management is everything. Yeah. Yeah. Do you have spot positions, and how does it differ from your trading? Of course, I have spot positions. And how does it differ from trading? The spot position is totally unlinked to my trading. Like, completely. They're two completely different things. And you have to treat them as such. You have to treat the spot and the leverage as two completely different animals. All right? Your spot position, you have two reasons to be on spot. Reason number one is you're forever hodl, okay? You're always stacking your Bitcoin because it's a bullish asset to hold long term. Very similar to stacking gold and silver, right? You just want to diversify your net worth, and so you put some of your net worth into Bitcoin just to hold it there forever. All right, you have a portfolio of crypto. That's always going to be your portfolio of crypto. Maybe when you get old and you retire, you're going to use it maybe to live, or maybe you'll pass it on to your kids, right? Then there's the spot trading, which is very, very low key. All right, for me, I've been trading Bitcoin on spot since 2016 when I first got into Bitcoin. I try to sell when the price is pumping and buy when the price is dumping. I don't care about volatility, all right? I don't care if the price is going to go lower when I'm buying, and I don't care if the price is going to go higher when I'm selling. I sold spot Bitcoin at 60K, 80K, 100K, and 120K. And I bought Bitcoin consistently on the way down as well. From basically under 40K is when I started buying. I started buying a lot under 30K and started buying aggressively under 20K. So I started buying at 40K, bought more started buying at 40K, bought more 30K, aggressively buying under 20K, and then I sold at 60, 80, 100, and 120. And so that's the spot trading. It's very different from leverage trading, all right? It's extremely different. You're basically trying to build a position on the way down and then scale out of that position on the way up, right? You don't have to time the bottom. You don't have to time the top. You don't have to put all your money in at once, and you don't have to take it all out at once. It's very different. When it comes to leverage trading, you're looking for a very, very specific plan, all right? Very different from spot trading. With spot trading, you say, okay, I'll buy at this level, and if it dumps down, I'll buy more. Leverage trading, it comes to this level, you say, if certain conditions are met on the chart, then I will long. And if certain conditions are not met on the chart, I will not long. All right. You also say, if the stop loss that is predetermined according to my trading plan in advance gets hit, then I am closing out the trade for a small loss. But if the targets get hit, then I will be taking profits, right? So the spot trading is very lackadaisical. It's very low key. You can accumulate, and then scale out, right? But with leverage trading, you're either expecting it to happen, and if it doesn't happen, you are out, all right? Very, 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 very different approach, okay? Very, very, very different approach. So the skill of trading, day trading, swing trading, scalp trading is very different than investing and holding assets. It's very different, right? Holding assets, much more chill. Trading, you need to be very precise. And if you treat trading like spot, you're going to lose everything and you're going to get liquidated. That's why people say, you know, you hear the trope a lot. In like normie investor content on the internet, don't ever use leverage. Don't ever use leverage, people say in this voice. It's because the normie investor uses leverage and they pretend leverage and spot are the same thing, right? They're like, oh, I can use 2x, 3x, 5x leverage, and instead of buying 1 Bitcoin, I can get 5 Bitcoin. Right? And then they hold it like it's spot, right? And then it takes one scam wick for them to get liquidated and lose everything, right? You can't cross swords with spot and leverage, all right? They're two different animals. If you get what I'm saying. You know, they're two different animals. Spot equals less stress, leverage equals more risk. More technical, not beginner friendly in your opinion. Yeah, so like they're two different things. Is leverage trading inherently more risky than spot? It is, in the sense that if you buy Bitcoin on spot, let's say you buy 1 Bitcoin and Bitcoin goes to 0, you still have 1 Bitcoin. All right? You still have 1 Bitcoin. Let's say you're on leverage and you have 1 Bitcoin and it goes to 0. Well, you get liquidated and you have nothing, right? So there is inherently more risk involved with leverage. But does that necessarily mean leverage trading is more risky? I'd say it depends. It depends on the person, and it depends on your experience, right? If you know what you're doing with the leverage trading, I'd say it's not inherently more risky than somebody who doesn't know anything about markets and just starts throwing money in random assets on spot, right? It really depends on how much knowledge you have in the arena that you're entering into, right? I mean, people that, like, let's say on spot, like you put like all your net worth into Bitcoin up here. Well, guess what? You know, now you're down 31%. You know, that's a lot of loss that you've taken on, right? Because you didn't know what you were doing. But, you know, let's say you were in a leverage trade from the exact top. Well, guess what? Your stop loss got hit, you close out for a small loss, and not a big deal, right? So it all depends on how you want to look at it. The potential to increase the risk is there on leverage, and you got to be disciplined. That is 100% true. Enjoy money. The potential for risk is much greater. The potential to add risk is much greater, because here's the thing. If you're not abiding by your risk management, all right, which is why you got to check out the risk management free course video, right? If you're not abiding by risk management and you put too much money on the trade, then yes, it becomes much more risky. If you take your full account at 25x leverage with no stop loss, you could lose everything in a 0.25% of a move, in a 0.25% move. I'm sorry. Yeah, nah, see how stupid I am? No, 4% move. 25x leverage, you lose everything in a 4% move, right? So, 250x leverage, you lose everything in a 0.25% move. But yeah, like, that's the thing. If you're risking your whole account, in the event it goes against you 4%, that, you know, that's going to lose you everything. So the discipline does need to be there, all right? Get a metal detector, find gold in the dirt. This is a hedge to risk, for sure. For sure. You were offered 400 Bitcoin in 2011 for your $400 BMX bike. You said no. Dang. You know, that's the worst. You know, it's funny because I do have a friend also who has lots of Bitcoin. Private key is like somewhere like on a hard drive of one of his old computers at work. And he has no idea, first of all, where that computer even is. And if he did know where it is, he wouldn't even know how to access it. It's crazy, you know? But, man, that could have been a lot of money, right? A lot of money. If you're stressed out when you're leverage trading, then you're over leveraged. Yeah, so that's a really good point. If you are stressed out when you're leverage trading, then you are, I wouldn't say you're over, you might be over leveraged if you have no stop loss. But if you have a stop loss, I'd say you're just risking too much, right? I say you're just risking too much. You should be able to take a trade. Like, honestly, here's how much I don't care about trades when I take them. I take a trade on my phone because I get an alert from a level I'm prepared for. I look at Market Cipher. It looks kind of good. Let me take a trade, set the stop loss, and go about my life, honestly. Take a trade, set the stop loss, put the phone on airplane mode, and go to sleep. That is how comfortable you should be with entering a trade knowing it could be a loss, right? You should be that apathetic. That's when actually you're going to start making money. When you can take a trade, shut the computer, and go have dinner with your family without thinking about it. That's how you know you're not risking too much, right? If you can't do that because you're scared of the loss, then you know you're gambling and you're not trading. Do I let people know when I buy spot in the Discord? I mean, I never have actually given a spot. Maybe I have. I don't remember, but I'm very open about when I buy and sell on spot. All right? I'm very open about buying and selling on spot. You're on a loss in spot, like 50%. Is it time to start leverage trading? That's funny. I hope that's a joke. Too much risk is too much leverage, is it not? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. So that's the thing. Like that's why I recommend like go watch the risk management video where we talk about leverage and stuff. Because it doesn't necessarily mean that, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that. I have videos on my YouTube channel. Let's see. I've done it many times here. Let's see. Nice. I've used that same clickbait title so many times. Here we go. Leverage trading, the harsh truth. All right. Leverage trading, the harsh truth. Check out this video here. All right. In this video, I will show you how, regardless of whether you're using 5x or 50x leverage, you're not necessarily adding to your risk. All right. Check out this video as well. This is a good video. All right. I'm showing you here 49x leverage with your stop loss is going to lose you about $10, right? So if you're using the same position size with the same stop loss, 49x leverage would literally be the same as, let's say, where's that next trade position here? Where was it? All right, let's go ahead and long it. Okay, yeah, there you go. All right, now, look at this. Now, this is 97x leverage, right? So I went from 45 to 97x, and I'm still risking literally less than $10 because my position size and my stop loss was the same, right? So it's not inherently more risky to use higher leverage as long as you understand how to use leverage and why you're using leverage, right? So watch this video, Leverage Trading, the Harsh Truth, and watch the video about risk management in the free course. And this will really open up. I mean, when you understand this, it's a big game changer. This is the difference between a profitable trader and a gambler. Or I shouldn't even say a profitable trader. This is the difference between a trader and a gambler. Even if you're not profitable, this is the difference between trading and gambling. Is the risk management and knowing how to use leverage and all that stuff. That is the difference between trading and gambling. All right, gambling is you're leaving it up to chance. Maybe you'll win a lot, maybe you'll lose it all. All right, trading is where you're very methodical. You're basing things on probabilities. Your risk management is very tight. Your risk is under control. You're only entering into the market when you decide to, based on plans that you've made in advance with predetermined exits if it goes against you or if it goes for you, based on a strategy that you can backtest hundreds and hundreds of times to get a % win rate of your strategy, right? Very different things. So, what exchange is the best moment for fees? It's got to be KCEX right now. You know. So, risk is the same, but fees apply to leverage, higher leverage. So the higher the position size, the bigger the fee. So if you only have $100 in your account and you have 100x leverage, right? And you're entering into a $10,000 position, you're going to pay a fee on a $10,000 position. You know? But if you're entering in a $10,000 position, you do need to calculate that fee into your risk management. All right? So you do need to calculate the fees into your risk management. So the actual formula, I always round down a little bit. Like, if I'm supposed to put $750 on the trade, assuming there's zero fees, you know, put $650 on the trade. You know, round down a little bit. Round down a little bit. Is it true that Glenn Benton punched me in the face on tour? I'll be honest, I don't know who Glenn Benton is. I'll be totally honest. All right, so this is great. So Sean uses 500x on cross and never risks more than 19 on a trade, and I print. Yeah, so that's another form of risk management. That's actually using high leverage in order to prevent risk. All right, he's saying, he's basically assuming the trade is immediately going to go in his direction. If it doesn't, he loses $19. If it does, he makes money, right? He's got his risk management on point. He's risking $19 a trade, even though the leverage is super high, right? So, you know, an exchange can alter price action to adjust for fees. Don't be fooled. Well, I'll tell you, KCEX is great. I've had no problem filling orders up to $1.5 million without any issues on market order, without any slippage. All right. I have had issues marketing in more than 1.5 million contracts and the market order not getting filled immediately. But I have to hand it to KCEX because instead of what a typical exchange would do, which let's say you market in here, right? Let's say you market in here, okay? Let's say you try to market in right here for a long trade, right? Price is coming down to your long. You market in, let's say you put $1 million on the trade, but only 500,000 gets filled, right? Well, then what the exchange will do is they'll keep filling you as the price is pumping, right? Then you end up with $1 million on the trade, but instead of your ninja entry, now you're here. Now your entry's way up here, right? This happens a lot on exchanges. I'm not going to mention names, okay? But KCEX, they have the courtesy of just not filling you. They just won't fill you. Right? And I've only had this happen with orders more than $1.5 million, all right? Which is very rare for me. So if you're trading with $1 million positions or less, you're going to have no issues on KCEX getting marketed in at your exact market price that you push buy or long, all right? And I have had, other than bigger orders not getting filled sometimes on market order, I've never had issues with limit orders either on good old KCEX that I can think of. So yeah, this is a good exchange. Look, every exchange is risky. I really like KCEX. I like the user interface. I like that how there's no slippage. I have never had an issue with stop losses not getting hit. I've heard some people have had issues with that. I've never had an issue with that. All right. So, you know, you always got to use your own discretion when picking an exchange. All right. What are my thoughts on BLOFIN? I like BLOFIN. It's a good exchange that you can trade inverse perpetual without KYC, which I don't think you can do on any other exchange right now. You know, I don't think you can do that on any other exchange. Isn't leverage where you borrow to amplify your buying power? In that sense, what I mean is you don't put up the margin for your trade. Yeah, you're right. What leverage is you're amplifying your margin. Right? You're amplifying your margin. So, like right now, like I only have $700 margin on this trade, even though it's $25,000 position size. Right over on KCEX, I have $95,000 position size, but my margin is only $3,000. Right, so basically I'm multiplying my $3,800 margin by 25. That's going to give me about $95,000. All right, so the margin on your trade, that's how much you're actually risking. Like in the event of liquidation, I'm going to lose $3,800 in the event of liquidation. Right, and you're multiplying this number by whatever X the leverage is to get your actual position size, right? So I have $95,000 on the trade, even though if I were to get liquidated, I would lose $3,800, right? That's what leverage is. So what this does, what this allows for, should I say, is, you know, something like this, right? Where if I were to increase my leverage to, let's say, 75x, right? Now I can decrease my margin on the trade, right? I can decrease my margin on the trade, where now I only have $1,200 that would get liquidated if the trade gets liquidated, but I still have $95,000 on the trade. So it's multiplying this number, and as you increase the leverage, the liquidation price gets higher. So at 75x leverage, if the price comes down to 85,745, I'm liquidated for $1,200, all right? But if I put the leverage back to 25x, and then my margin is increased back up to $3,800, now you can see that instead of going down to 85,000 to get liquidated, it goes down to 83.4. So there's more room for price to come down against me before I get liquidated. And basically, the more margin you have, the more leeway you have before you get liquidated. So if you go down to 1x leverage, then you have $95,000 on the trade on 1x leverage, then basically the price could go down, almost 100%, and you're still not going to get liquidated, right? And so this is why leverage is a tool to be used in situations like this, where you have a very clearly defined plan, right? You don't even have to worry about liquidation if you know you're wrong at 85K, right? So in this instance, right, over here, right, I know that I'm wrong if the price comes down to 85K, right? Price comes down all the way to, I guess I had technically like right around here is where my idea would be wrong, right around here, okay? My liquidation price is way down here, all right? So this is my liquidation, right? The red line is my liquidation price. The green line is my stop loss. This line is my entry. So if my plan is to take a trade here, and I know I'm wrong on my idea if we come here, then even using 25x leverage, there's no risk of liquidation. There's no risk of actually losing this $3,800 margin, because if I'm trading according to the plan that I had in advance, we're not even going to get close to my liquidation, right? We'd have to move down 4% for me to get liquidated. And we come down here, this is only 1.8%, right? Then down here is the 4%, right? So that's why, leverage is a tool to be used when you have clearly defined plans for your ins and your outs and all that stuff. And of course, when I took the trade, I was pretty much assuming when I took the trade that we weren't going to come much lower than 86K, all right? So, and I took that trade live in the Casper Crew VIP New York Open live stream on Wednesday at jasoncaspertrading.com. Click the link to join. We even did, in real time, give the short on October 6th from the exact top when we got that bearish divergence on the 1 hour at the top of the local range on October 6th at 3:48 p.m. Eastern Time. Is there a difference using liquidation and stop loss? Yeah, you could totally do that. All right. If you're accounting for fees, there's technically nothing wrong with using a liquidation as a stop loss. Like, I know people have different views on that, but look, if your position size is small enough that the liquidation itself is going to lose you your allotted risk, then yeah, you could use liquidation as stop loss, honestly. Or you could have backup stop loss as well. Like, there are so many things you could do, but let's just assume this is your trade, all right? This, and for this, this could help for your trading psychology, but let's say this is your trade setup here, right? It's a 4-to-1 risk reward ratio. You're risking 1 to make 4. You could set your leverage up so that your liquidation price is like right underneath, like right here, so that if you don't have the dang discipline to abide by your stop loss, then you're just liquidated anyway. And instead of losing 1%, now you lost like 1.7%. It's like a backup. It's still risking more than what you should, but it's keeping you from, because here's the thing. If you're in a low leverage trade, right? It's one of the benefits of high leverage. This is not financial advice, okay? It all depends on your psychology and your mentality. But if you're in a 2x leverage trade, let's say you're looking for this to happen, right? So we're here, you enter the trade. Guess what? We don't bounce. So what do? You say, well, we're probably going to come up at some point. We get another drop. Let me add to my position. Get a better entry. Now my entry's here. All right. Guess what? We come up and we get another move down. All right. Now what are you going to do? Now you're in double the position size that you should have been in. And you're way more in the red than you should have been in. So instead of taking a 1% loss, now you're down in the red on the whole account, like maybe like 4%. And now what do? Now you start to play mind games with yourself. Maybe I'll just close it at a break even. Oh, we're coming back up. I'll just close it at break even. Boom. Another move to the downside. Now what? Now you're down 5-6% on the whole account. All right. If you had had the high leverage, you wouldn't be in this predicament. You would have been liquidated. And now you move on to the next trade. No mental games. No, should I close it? Should I wait for break even? We have to bounce eventually. What's going to happen? Right? Then you're holding it there. The torment. Can't put the chart down. Are we ever going to get to break even? And sometimes it works out. Great. But other times, no. Right? So, I've literally known people who've been in low leverage trades in the red for months. And then closed at a break even after months. And they waited it out. But you don't really want to put yourself into that position. Right? You don't want to put yourself into that position. Yeah. Liquidation, they're going to pay a hefty fee on that. So you have to make sure that if you're using liquidation as a backup stop loss, it's always going to be more fee than just normal market order. All right. But if you have everything calculated correctly, it can be done. Right. But it's always better to use an actual stop loss instead of liquidation. What are my thoughts on prop firm trading? Look, I think it's great if you don't have capital, but you've honed your skills in trading. I'm partnered with Klein funding. I have 25% discounts on these funded accounts. They even have Instant Pro. You don't have to pass a challenge. You can start trading with a $50,000 account for about $1,000 with the discount in the description. I think it's great. As long as the prop firm's on the up and up, right? As long as the prop firm's on the up and up. Guys, the egg code for today is snow. All right? The egg code for today is snow. And we've been doing some winter drop riddles in the egg drop riddles in the Discord for eggs as well. All right? We've already done 2. We're going to do another. So if you're in the Discord, look out for those winter egg drops. They're riddles. You got to guess the word and get eggs for it. All right, it's pretty fun, pretty cool. Pretty fun, pretty cool. Don't be a fool, go to school. Don't be a fool, drop out of school and trade crypto full time. What could go wrong? Don't be a fool. Look at the monthly candle on silver. Let's check it out. Wow, look at the daily candle on silver. What do you mean look at the weekly? Look at the daily. Man, this is crazy. This cannot go on forever, but I'll be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if we hit $100 an ounce, if we front run $100 an ounce. This is crazy. Look at the yearly candle on silver. Boom! Look at that yearly candle on silver. Let's see. We had a yearly candle on silver in 1979. 380%. This one is 170. I think this is the second biggest yearly candle we've ever seen on silver in the history of silver being recorded against the US dollar since 1802. That's crazy. Second biggest yearly candle on silver ever since 1802. Man, good old silver. It's biblical money. Can't go wrong. Can't go wrong with SLV, baby. Yeah, I know, right? Perfect cup and handle. On the yearly, it's as textbook as textbook could be. It's crazy, right? The target is going to be $100 per ounce. That's going to be our target here. Shout out to Langy Amos 8674. What's going on? I'm sorry, I can't really read these stupid YouTube names because YouTube messed everything up. YouTube messed everything up. Major shout to Dave Digital in the chat. God bless you, Dave Digital. Good to see you here, man. God bless. Hope you're having a wonderful Christmas season with your family, bro. God bless you, and thank you so much for popping on in. It always brightens up my day when Dave Digital's in the house, baby. Isn't iron also biblical? I mean, I guess metals, I don't know. Is iron biblical money? I've never thought about it. I'd say gold and silver is biblical money. But Betty Goat came from Sammy's stream. That's what's up, man. God bless you. Shout out to Sam Price. Do I believe in Christmas? What do you mean? That's such an ambiguous. Do I believe that Christmas exists as a holiday? Is that what you mean? Do I believe in Christmas? Shout out to Daryl Oofton. What's going on? One of our winners from yesterday. And look, I just want to let our winners know, if you have not received your money yet, you will. But it's still probably processing because I know a lot of people had the day off yesterday. But I know that they have received it and they're sending it out, all right? I got word from my rep. Do I know a good broker that can connect TradingView with no crazy fees? Currently using Bybit, but the fees are garbage. I don't. I'm sorry. And I don't trade through TradingView. I like the exchange interfaces. I'm old school like that, you know? I'm old school like that. $10,000 gold incoming in 2026. That would be insane. Gold was my first major investment when I was 24 years old. You know, being fully aware of the disgusting antics of the Federal Reserve and the fiat currency Keynesian deficit spending economic system. In 2014, around the summertime, I got myself into gold. All right, me and my wife were very serious about moving our hard-earned savings into gold. And one of the best decisions I ever made, up on that about 279%. Now, the best investment I ever made was, of course, Bitcoin, which I did honestly put literally, I'm not exaggerating, I put my entire life savings into Bitcoin. I FOMO'd into Bitcoin. Man, I was such a crypto noob, and the Lord had favor on me, because in around the summer or the fall of 2016, give or take, around this area right here, leading up until the fall, I literally, me and my wife, put everything that we had been saving to eventually have a down payment on a house, which at the time was around 45,000-ish. We put it into Bitcoin. Little did we know. Oh my goodness. And then we were able to get a really nice homestead property where we can grow our own food, raise our own animals, and the Lord had favor on me. I'm not even kidding. I had known about Bitcoin since 2014. I had known about it because when you're getting into gold and you're like reading stuff about gold and listening to podcasts about gold and watching YouTube videos about gold, it kind of, you cross paths with the crypto people, so I'd heard about it. But there's this one guy who I really appreciated his outlook on things. And he had this guest on talking about Bitcoin, about how it's going to $1 million and you got to get it now while you can. And I told my wife, I was at the gym. I'm always at the gym whenever I listen to podcasts. Came home from the gym. I'm like, wife, I said, listen, woman. I said, we need to take all the money we've been saving and put it into Bitcoin. And she immediately said, all right, sure thing, Jason Casper, I submit to you, my husband, she said. I'm like, all right. That was easy. I thought we were gonna have to battle it out. I went in there with a crazy demand, thinking that we were gonna barter our way down to a compromise. I said, we're gonna put it all into Bitcoin, baby, because I'm the man of the house. And I thought she was going to come back and say, you idiot, irresponsible, not thinking about your future. Maybe we could put, maybe we'll put 10% in. And then I'd say, no, 70%, and she'd be like 20%. I'd be like 60%. She'd be like maybe 40. And we compromise 50-50. But she just said, all right, we did that. I don't know. That must have been a God thing, because my wife is the voice of reason. Jason Casper is the voice of impulsive decisions without thinking them through. I'll figure it out. As it's going wrong, I'll figure out how to fix it, right? But that was the best investment I ever made in my life, right? That opened up my eyes to the power of markets. That's what got me into wanting to trade in the first place, because I've been a business owner since 2012. An official business owner. I've been a low-key hustler since like middle school, all right? Always trying to sell stuff to make money, But I've had an official business since 2012, and my backup plan was to be a garbage man or a toll booth worker. Because of, I figured garbage men and toll booth workers, it's a consistent job, everyone has to pay a toll and everyone makes garbage, right? But then I decided, after I saw how this happens, I realized people could make money when it goes up and it goes down. I'm like, I gotta learn me some of that. And so in 2018, that's when I really started studying technical analysis, getting into markets and learning how to trade stocks. I never actually traded stocks, but I learned a lot about trading stocks. I even got a Thinkorswim demo account, started demo trading stocks, eventually got into Forex trading. And then once I realized that you could trade on, derivative futures, that was where I landed on the trading aspect, because I already had a lot of capital in crypto from the big old bull market, So gold and silver, man, that's the way to go. Major shout out to Dave Digital. Why do I love It's Ian on YouTube? I love Ian on YouTube because he reminds me of my friend Mike. All right, he reminds me of my friend Mike, and he's just a chill, cool guy. And I like that his channel randomly blew up, and he's just doing his thing, working at 7-Eleven, making videos, being a YouTuber, and now all of a sudden his channel just blows up randomly. I like that. I like the underdog kind of story, right? I feel like that is embodied most in the crypto space. The underdog, the common man becoming wealthy in crypto, right? It's the underdog, the nerd money. The nerd money that everyone said, you're stupid for doing that. Boom, baby. We showed you. Boom, baby, we showed you. Boom, baby. Right? I like that. Ian on YouTube. I have a video actually of him saying, Jason Casper is the best guy in the world. But I lost that video, sadly. Shout out to Dave Digital. Can we check some low time frame Bitcoin? Yeah, we could. Well, we're on the 8-hour, we're on the 30-minute. I mean, we had a Bart Simpson pattern. We pumped yesterday. We gave it all back today in one foul swoop. We're chopping in the range. I still have to say I'm maintaining my obviously I've taken some money out of this trade here. I'm just chopping around with this nonsense, but I still have about $225,000, give or take, on long positions. Or I've got 3 longs open on Bitcoin right now. And I'm still targeting my $96,000, $97,000 level. It's taken 2 weeks. I look, until we dump down, I'm gonna have to stick to my target, Yeah, shout out to my wife, man. You know? Yeah, Boyan, he celebrates Christmas on the Orthodox date. So, yeah. Orthodox Christians celebrate it on the 6th and 7th of January, I believe. On the 6th and 7th of January. And then the Catholics worship, they celebrate on the 25th of December. And then the Protestants who have protested against the Catholic Church, they also do everything the Catholic Church does. They protest against the Catholic Church, but they do everything the Catholic Church does. So that's why most Christians celebrate on the 25th, because the Catholic Church is, I think, bigger than the Orthodox, and then the ones who protested against the Catholic, they make up a big portion of that as well. But Protestants are the daughter of the Catholic. I mean, Martin Luther was a Catholic until all of a sudden he protested, and then there were a whole bunch of splits and splinters and disagreements and, you know, all that good stuff. Whose channel were I just talking about? Ian on YouTube. Where can you meet a wife like mine? Church. Church. All right? You go to church to meet a wife like mine. You go to an Orthodox church, a Catholic church, a Protestant church. Go to a Messianic Jewish congregation. Got to find a woman who who loves the Lord, puts the Lord first. All right? Seriously. Let's check out Ian on YouTube. Ian on YouTube. All right? This is the guy. All right? Good old Ian on YouTube. All right? Let's check out his most popular video, the one that got him famous. It was this one. Why I'm 30 years old working a dead-end retail job. 3.2 million views. I think he had like 15,000 subscribers, and it pumped him up to over like 250,000. Yeah, 253K now. This happened last year. All right? This happened last year. So, shout out to Ian on YouTube. Jay, come to AC tonight. Are you talking about Atlantic City? Atlantic City? Are you talking about Atlantic City? Did I say Martin Luther King instead of Martin Luther? That's so funny. I said Martin Luther King instead of Martin Luther. Man, well, happens, man. Martin Luther King Jr. was a Protestant. He was Protestant. He was a Protestant. Yeah, Martin Luther, not King. Just Martin Luther regular was a Catholic guy who became a Protestant. He would, I guess, the OG, right? What do I know? What the heck do I know about church history, honestly? How much does YouTube Live pay me? Not very much. Most of my videos get demonetized because, well, not anymore, because I started using Epidemic Sounds. But before that, when I was using YouTube playlists, they would all get demonetized. I probably make, let me see. I probably make like $1,000 a month or so. But it's between 1 and 4, depending on the vibe. I make about, right now, in the last month, I made about $1,000. That's my estimated revenue for December. In the last year, I made about $19,716 in the last year on YouTube. So, not very much. It's the last year. About $19,716 from YouTube. November I made $1,700. October I made $1,100. Now in 2024, during the peak pump, I made $27,000 on YouTube. So, you know, it ebbs and flows with how popular crypto is. Are we pumping? Are we dumping? You know, affiliate money is where the money's at. Yeah, honestly, if you want to do a YouTube channel, here's where the money's at. All right, I tell this to all my friends that want to do online, whatever. All right, here's what you need to do. Here's what you need to do. Listen, if you want to make money on YouTube, here's what you need to do. First of all, start making content. Don't overthink it. Just do it. Don't overthink it. Just do it. All right. I cannot tell you, I have talked to so many people that want to start YouTube channels and they never do. They never do. All right. The reason why they never do is because they overthink it. I don't have a camera. I don't have a mic. I don't know the name of my channel. I don't have this. I don't have that. Okay? Look at my old videos, guys. I don't have good thumbnails. Okay? I don't have a camera. I don't show my face. I didn't have a mic. I just talked into the dang MacBook Pro. And here's the thing. I gave people information that was valuable. That's all people care. Are you providing some kind of valuable information? Just make the dang content. Just start making it. Your video's not going to go viral unless you make the content. I didn't know this video was going to get 136,000 views. All right? Just make the content. Quit overanalyzing it, right? That's step number one. Don't worry if you don't have a mic. Don't worry if you don't have a camera. Go right now into your mom's closet and make the video on your old laptop and post it on YouTube. All right? Start doing that every day. The second thing you need to do is create some kind of product that you yourself can sell. All right? Some kind of a product that you yourself can sell. All right? That's what you need to do. It could be an ebook. It could be a course. Some kind of digital product that you can sell. Okay? The third thing, very important, have some kind of subscription-based service where people pay you passive income every single month. Like the Casper Crew VIP Discord. Click the link to join, where now I get your money every single month and I don't have to do anything different or any more work than I'm doing today. If you sign up tomorrow, I'm just making more money tomorrow, doing the same amount of work. All right? You get a subscription-based thing going. You could charge people cheap. All right? VIP Discord is $2 a day. All right? It's $2 a day. People spend more on that in their dang croissant and coffee at Starbucks donuts or whatever. All right? Here's the thing. Let's say you get people, you know, $25 a month. You're providing some kind of value. Right? 4 people, that's $100 a month. Right? 40 people, that's $1,000 a month. Right? 400 people, that's 10 grand a month. YouTube allows you to do stuff where you can reach hundreds of thousands of people. It's not that hard. If you have, like I have 150,000 subscribers, right? 150,000 subscribers, all right? If 400 of them pay me $25 a month, I'm making 10 grand a month. I have 150,000 hot leads right now, people who will pay me money. Right? Subscription-based service where you're making passive income. And then the last thing on top of that is going to be affiliate marketing, right? Find products that you use, that you support, and affiliate with them so you can get commission, right? But I'd say most people don't even do step one, which is just make the dang content. And if you're putting out valuable content, it's very easy to monetize it. It doesn't have to be trading. It could be anything. It could be anything. All these fitness YouTube channels out there, because, you know, the algorithm knows I love fitness. But I'll bet you this guy's selling some kind of course. Bet you this guy's selling some stuff. Let's check it out. Let's check it out. Look, his 90-day bodyweight strength and mobility program. Boom. Right? He's selling his thing. I'll bet you he's got some kind of other subscription-based thing too. Right? That's the way to do it. He has got 2 million subscribers. All right? 2 million subscribers. If he's charging $20 for his stupid strength thing, I mean, imagine how much money he could make when you got 2 million subscribers, you know? But All he's doing is doing push-ups on the roof, man. He's just doing push-ups in the grass. That's where the money's at on YouTube. That's the secret. That's the real secret. You know? Those are the 3 simple steps. Make the content, have a product subscription. You know? I'm about to make a new YouTube channel just about making YouTube channels. About to be the next Alex Becker up in here. You know? You remember the live stream out of my mom's closet? Yeah. Shout out to Dave Digital. That's how he decided to start the Simple Terms podcast. Just turn the camera on. Yeah, unless you don't even have a camera, right? Yeah, but it'll work for anything. Klein funding works with Bybit. You need KYC for Bybit. Yeah, but you don't need a KYC to trade on Klein funding. You just need a demo Bybit account with a VPN. That's all you need. Shout out to Not Quicker. I don't know, man. I can't make that promise, bro. I do eventually plan to do live streams on the Bible channel, but I can't make that promise now. I can't make that promise now, unfortunately. But I do plan to do them eventually. Somehow the channel ended up with like lots of subscribers. That was let's see here. Somehow, you know, the Billy Casper Bible channel has these videos ended up with like hundreds of thousands of views. Look at this. Hundreds of thousands of views. So somebody did the old pump it up, you know, with the subs and the views. It's obviously fake because when you click on it, you know, it's basically the amount of likes is only 169 with 100,000. It should be 10,000 likes, you know. But, you know, I don't know. We'll have to figure it out. I do plan to go live on the Bible channel, all right? I do plan to go live on the Bible channel. Look at this guy doing push-ups, man. Can't go wrong with the guy doing push-ups. You know? Look, he's got a tape measure all ready to measure his 25-inch biceps. Look, Bitcoin's trying to get a little bit of a pump. Look at this massive candle. You know, we got to go down to the 1 second, the 5 second time frame to really appreciate this pump for what it is here. You know, we've got to go ahead and now we're taking a big old dump. Now we're taking a big old dump. Sheesh. Well, we were trying to get a pump. 5 seconds of pump. 30 seconds of dump. 35 seconds of dump. Sheesh. It's Chop City. I wonder if we could. Well, let's see if the 5 second scalping strategy would have worked at this low here. Yeah, would you look at that? Nah, that wouldn't have given me an entry there. This would have given me a little entry on my 5 second scalping strategy. If you're not familiar with the 5 second scalping strategy, you are missing out. Am I bullish on the very short term on ETH? I'm pretty neutral on the very short term on ETH. All right. I'm pretty neutral. I'm just waiting for these ranges to break. I have reason to be bullish on ETH and Bitcoin right now. I do have reason to believe that in the next few weeks we could see some upside. However, like I've been saying, although I believe we're going to break out of these ranges on the high time frames, I wouldn't be surprised if we sweep the lows first. All right. So even if we come down and retest 80,000 on Bitcoin, I wouldn't be surprised if we eventually end up at 95. Same with ETH. Like, you know, we come down. Like, I wouldn't be surprised on ETH if we come back down to 2,600 again, just to, like, you know, trade the sideways range. You know, whoop, and then we end up whoop, and then we can do something like that. I'm either looking for this or I'm looking for straight up. Either way, based on our weeklies, based on our dailies, I do expect that this range, when this range breaks, all right, when the range actually breaks out, not fakes out, right? But breaks out, because we had a range fake out here on ETH, right? We had the high, fake out back into the range. We have the low, right? So I'm not going to be surprised, fake out back into the range, and then real breakout to 4,000, right? Same with Bitcoin. Wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin comes back down to the low, fake out, and then get the move up towards 100,000, right? But I'm also open to us bouncing from here, and the reason is because we've already bounced from a decent support and are getting the higher low in the key fib zone, right? So technically speaking, even though we've been trading sideways for 2 weeks, this still could be a higher low leading to a higher high, right? When can we get a neutral pump song? I guess we'll have to change the words. Are we going to dump? No, we're going to pump. Are we going to pump? No, we're going to dump. We're going to dump. No, we're going to pump. We're going to pump. No, we're going to dump. Fake out to 95K. That would be nice. Just do a live stream on the Bible channel. I'll do it. I will eventually, all right? I will eventually do a freestyle on the Bible channel. Eventually. Sideways range wrap. If you drop me a good beat, I might be able to do a sideways range wrap. All right, if you drop me a good beat. If not, shout out to Bar Dazan. Left a massive order block at 81K. Thank you so much for the super chat. Let's check it out. At 81K, what time frame are you on? What time frame are you on, man? I don't really see an order block at 81K, to be honest with you. What time frame are you on, man? Did I ever mine ETH back in the day? No, I never did. Does the beat need to be on YouTube? Yeah, it needs to be on YouTube. And it has to be the title of the video into the... It needs to be the title of the video. What's the indicator at the bottom? It's market cipher. B baby. B baby. I'm not oneness Hearth Martyr 3111. Sorry. If you thought I was, I'm not, alright? I don't like to put labels, but look, I believe that there's one God. That's very clear from Scripture, but it's also very clear from Scripture that the Son is not the Father and the Father is not the Son. All right, there is a clear distinction. So sorry. But, you know, I wish I could be, you know, for your sake. You know, modalism is cozy, right? It's cozy, it's easy to understand, but that's just not what the Scripture teaches, right? If we're going to take it as a comprehensive set of documents that we're going to call the Bible and say this set of books is authoritative Scripture, then the Scripture does not teach modalism or oneness. You think 50% of my YouTube is coming from Pump and Dump song? Maybe. I hope so. That would be cool. I hope so. Well, I don't see any beat titles in the chat, so I can't do a freestyle, alright? But giveaway time? Man, if we get 1,000 likes in the first 30 minutes, we will do a giveaway. We'll do a giveaway. The Firestarter Instrumental by Casket and Anonymous. All right, let's try that. Let's see if this makes me feel something in the soul. See if this makes me feel something in the soul. I don't think so. This is the weirdest thing I've ever heard. I'm sorry, but what the heck is this? This is hilarious. This is hilarious, I do have to say. But I don't think I could freestyle over this, you know? Shout out to Anthony Lee Crypto. He says the giveaways are rigged. The giveaways are always rigged in the Jason Casper YouTube channel, you know? Giveaways are always rigged. Shout out to Anthony Lee Crypto. Guys, go subscribe to Anthony Lee Crypto. All right? Good YouTuber out there doing the old crypto thing. Doing the old crypto thing. That was a funny little beat there. You know? The fast car montage. Let's check it out. Let's check it out here. Shout out to Fit in Crypto. Shout out to Make Me a Millie. What's going on, bro? God bless you, man. All right, the fast car montage. Oh, I don't think this is going to work out, huh? But we could listen to Luke Combs covering Fast Car. If you like some modern country music, right? I think he does a pretty good job with that song, honestly. Man, am I really I'm gonna decrease my yearly YouTube revenue by listening to Luke Combs cover Fast Car live? All right, that's enough. I think he does a really good job with that cover. What do you guys think? Shout out to the Clip Cult. He says, I'm going to be honest. All right. He says, one time during a giveaway, I was spamming with 6 accounts, including 2 from my phone and iPad. Does this count as cheating? Nah, I think that's, look, I think that's totally fine, man. You know? Here's the thing. Can you post any faster or slower? Oh, shout out to Zenmos1. You made a beat on your channel called Glass. Zenmos1. Let's check it out. Let's see if I can find it. Ah, man, I don't think I'll be able to find it. But I found this. What is this?
Sometimes all it takes is just one more step before your breakthrough. Just one step.
Feeling
just one more step. And I know sometimes you may get tired. I understand. But sometimes, and especially when you're right there before your breakthrough happens, that tends to be when it's most difficult. Just one step away. Can you imagine that? Take another step. Keep putting God as number one in your life, and always go to God for wisdom and advice, and take one more step, okay? I love you all. I'm looking forward to hearing your testimony. Sometimes
nice. I can get down. I can get down with it, you know? So I can't find the glass thing. Is this it? I'm not really good at rapping over trap beats. I'm old school. I'd give it a shot, but I probably suck at it. Yeah, yeah, Hey, yo, sit back. I got my. Nah, I can't do it. There's no way. There's no way. Sorry. Nah, I'm too old school. The most American guy raps to UK drill. Shout out to Boyne and shout out to T in the chat. When T and Boyne get in the chat, it makes me nervous. It makes me think that they're trying to get my attention for something because there's something I forgot to do. Is that true, guys? Back to the charts. Oh yeah, I forgot. This is a crypto channel. All right. Nothing happening, guys. Nothing in the charts. Nothing in the stream. Seems like my energy is lagging today. Bet you guys can feel it. I'll bet you guys can feel it. So, I guess I'll head out, man. God bless you guys. Have a great weekend. May the Lord bless you in Jesus' name. I'll see you guys. I don't know when I'll see you guys next. Peace!